The Awakening, the Revised Edition, by Lilac Moon. Chapter 18, A New Hope. A dark shroud of evil blankets the galaxy, and has smothered all that is good for many years. Some believe that all hope is completely lost, as 18 years have passed since the fall of the Galactic Republic and the rise of the evil empire. It is also a period of civil war. Rebel spaceships striking from a hidden base have won their first victory against the evil Galactic Empire. During the battle, rebel spies managed to steal secret plans to the Emperor's ultimate weapon, the Death Star, an armored space station with enough power to destroy an entire planet. Pursued by the Empire's sinister agents, Princess Leia races aboard her starship, custodian of the stolen plans that can save her people and restore freedom to the galaxy. Unfortunately, the young princess has found herself in over her head, especially after slipping away from her longtime bodyguard, Ahsoka, whom was escorting her home. The young princess was not to be on the same ship as the stolen plans, but headstrong Leia has placed herself in danger, fearing that without her, R2-D2, the droid the plans have been hidden in, would not make it home to Alderaan. R2-D2 and C-3PO wobbled as they felt Princess Leia's ship lurch from a devastating blast from the pursuing Imperial Star Destroyer.
"Did you hear that? They've shot the main reactors. We'll be destroyed for sure,"
3PO fretted.
"This is madness,"
3PO complained as the rebel crewmen lined up with their blasters ready.
"We're doomed. There'll be no escape for the princess this time,"
3PO dreaded. Strange noises were heard on the hull as the ship was pulled into the Star Destroyer, and they were boarded. The blast doors were blown open as the stormtroopers, formerly once known as clone troopers, invaded the ship and began shooting down the crewmen. Darth Vader himself boarded the ship and began his search for the plans. He said nothing as he looked around the carnage. The only sound was the rhythmic breathing of his respirator.
"R2, where are you?"
3PO called. The golden droid briefly saw the princess kneeling in front of R2 before she ran off.
"At last! Where have you been?"
3PO scolded, as R2 rolled up to him and whirred a series of bleeps and clicks.
"We're about to be captured! We'll be sent to the spice mines of Kessel, or worse,"
3PO fretted. R2 ignored him and rolled off in the other direction.
"Wait, where are you going?"
3PO asked. The stormtroopers marched their prisoners to Vader.
"The Death Star plans are not in the main computer,"
one trooper reported.
"Where have you hidden the plans?"
Vader demanded, as he proceeded to choke the rebel man. The man tried to choke out something about a diplomatic mission before life left him. Vader tossed him away.
"Commander, tear the ship apart. Find the passengers. I want them alive,"
Vader demanded viciously. The stormtroopers began their search. One spotted Leia and pointed her out.
"There's one! Severstan!"
he called. Leia shot one down before running. Another trooper stunned her and she fell unconscious to the ground.
"She'll be all right. Inform Lord Vader that we have a prisoner,"
our commander said. R2 went about activating the escape pods.
"We'll be captured for sure,"
3PO fretted. R2 whirred a response.
"Don't call me a mindless philosopher, you overweight glob of grease!"
3PO shot back. R2 beeped and clicked in response.
"Secret plans? What mission? I'm not getting in there,"
3PO replied. Suddenly a blaster shot grazed by him and he reluctantly followed R2 into the pod.
"I am going to regret this,"
the golden droid griped. The pod was launched and it fell towards Tatooine. The Imperials did not shoot it down, for it showed negative for holding any life forms. The Imperial stormtroopers marched their prisoners to Darth Vader. "Darth Vader, only you could be so bold. The Imperial Senate will not sit still for this. When they hear that you have attacked a diplomatic mission," Leia said, but was interrupted by Vader.
"Don't act so surprised, Your Highness. You weren't on a mercy mission this time. Several transmissions were beamed aboard this ship by rebel spies." "I want to know what happened to the plans they sent you," Vader demanded.
"I don't know what you're talking about. We were on a diplomatic mission to Alderaan." She was cut off again.
"You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away,
Vader spat. The Sith Lord continued on his way with an Imperial officer beside him.
Holding her is dangerous. If word of this gets out, it could generate sympathy for the Senate, the Imperial officer stated. I have traced the rebel spies to her. Now she is my only link to finding the hidden rebel base,
Vader said.
She'll die before she tells you anything, the officer replied. Leave that to me. Send a distress signal out. Then inform the Imperial Senate that all aboard were killed, Vader ordered.
Another officer approached Vader with news.
The plans are over aboard this ship.
No transmissions have been left. An escape pod was jettisoned a short time ago, but was not destroyed, for it held no life forms,
the officer informed. She must have hidden the plans in the pod. Send a team down to retrieve those plans. See to it personally. There will be no stopping us this time, Vader said. Yes, my lord, the man replied as he went to work.
The escape pod landed in the middle of the Tatooine desert. 3PO and R2 proceeded to wander aimlessly through the endless sand.
How do we get ourselves into these messes? We seem made to suffer. It is our lot in life,
3PO complained. R2 whirred a response.
I need to rest. My joints are almost frozen,
3PO replied.
What a desolate place this is,
3PO said, as he looked around at the sea of sand and desert. 3PO beeped and clicked.
Where are you going? I am not going that way. It is much too rocky. This way is easier,
3PO replied. After arguing and disagreeing, the two droids set off in different directions. After hours of walking and complaining, 3PO spotted a transport and called for its help. Meanwhile, R2 found himself wandering through the Jundland wastes, where he was found by Jawas and captured. 3PO and R2 soon found themselves in the same Jawa transport. Imperial stormtroopers landed in the desert near the escape pod.
There were life forms in this pod. The tracks lead off this way,
the trooper pointed. One trooper held up a piece of metal to the commander.
Look, sir, droids,
he said. They began following the tracks in search of the escaped droid, who obviously had the plans. The Jawa transport reached the Lars moisture farm. Owen and Luke were about to go and see what they had when Beru called. Luke! Luke! She called. Luke ran to see what she needed. Luke! Tell Uncle if he gets a translator, make sure he speaks Baki, Beru said.
Doesn't look like there's much to choose from, but I'll remind him,
Luke said as he ran off to catch up with Owen. Owen hassled with the Jawas, and once he determined that 3PO did indeed speak Baki, he chose him and a red unit. R2 began throwing a fit, and suddenly the red droid malfunctioned. R2 was chosen then.
Luke, take these two over to the garage. Have them cleaned up by dinner,
Owen said. But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters, Luke whined.
You can waste time with your friends later,
Owen replied sternly. Luke looked disappointed and waved the droids to follow him. All right, come on, Luke said, as he reluctantly led them to the garage. While 3PO was lowered into an oil bath, Luke complained about his uncle.
It just isn't fair. Biggs is right, I'll never get out of here,
Luke said.
I'm sorry, sir, but is there anything I can do?
3PO asked. Not unless you can speed up time or teleport me off this rock, Luke replied.
I'm sorry, sir, I don't have such knowledge of things, especially since I'm not even sure where we are,
3PO replied. Well, if there's a bright centre to the universe, then you're on the planet furthest from it, Luke replied as he began digging out a carbon scoring on R2. He was instantly intrigued when 3PO told him that they had been involved with the rebellion.
You've got something jammed in here really good,
Luke said as he tried to get it out. As he did, he triggered a recording. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. The transmission repeated itself.
What is this?
Luke asked. R2 whirled dismissively. 3PO slapped R2 on his dome.
What do you mean, what recording?
3PO scolded. R2 whirled snottily.
He says he's the property of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it is a privileged transmission for him. I don't really know what he is talking about, sir. Our last owner was Captain Natali's,
3PO replied.
Obi-Wan Kenobi? I wonder if he means Old Ben, Luke replied. Do you know what he's talking about, sir?
3PO asked. Well, I don't know anyone named Obi-Wan, but old Ben lives out beyond the Dune Sea. Kind of a strange old hermit. Luke replied. Sir Luke, R2 says that if you remove the restraining bolt, he may be able to play the entire recording, 3PO said. Luke was busy staring at the woman in the recording. Huh? Oh, yeah. I guess you're too small to run out on me, Luke said, as he undid the restraining bolt. As soon as he did, the recording disappeared. Hey, wait! Where did she go? Bring her back, Luke said. R2 clicked on Word. What do you mean, what recording? 3PO scolded again. Luke! Baru called. Coming on, Baru! Luke called back. See what you can do with him. I'll be right back, Luke replied. 3PO proceeded to scold R2 for being so stubborn. Luke joined his aunt and uncle at the table, but found a pleasant surprise when he saw his other uncle also sitting at the table. Uncle Rex! He called. Rex chuckled as he hugged the young man before he sat back down. How's it going, kid? He asked. Better now. How long are you here for? Luke asked. Rex smiled. Most of the time he stayed a few days and spent some real time with Luke, being that Owen didn't usually show Luke much affection or pay him much attention, unless it was to make him work on the farm. Rex believed in hard work, but knew that Anakin would have been a different kind of father to the boy, and he always tried to give a little bit of that to Luke every time he saw him. He was just like Anakin in the sense that he was always tinkering with machines, so usually Rex brought him all kinds of tools and scrap parts to use in the garage. He wasn't as good at Anakin was at fixing things, but he had always known that, someday, Anakin and Luke would get to bond as father and son over an engine. And Rex was here today, because that time had finally come. Anakin was fully healed, and he, along with Padme, were ready to be brought out of hibernation. He knew he had to wait until Luke encountered Obi-Wan for them to begin revealing everything, even though he had no idea how Luke would end up out in the Dune Sea. He didn't much like the idea at all, but he trusted the former Jedi General and would follow the plan Obi-Wan and Satine had detailed to him. That meant he had to talk with Owen and Baru without Luke's presence, and that was something he was not looking forward to. Baru was a lovely lady, and he knew that she truly loved Luke, but Owen and he did not get along. He had a feeling that Owen would not take the news that Anakin and Padme would soon be in their son's life very well at all. Well, I'll be around for a couple of days, so I thought you could probably use these. We can put them together later if you want, Rex said as he pointed to a box behind him. Luke read the label and his eyes lit up. New T90 power converters? He exclaimed. Rex chuckled. Yep, picked them up today on the way here. I had a feeling you probably wouldn't have gotten a chance to go get them, Rex replied, glancing quickly at Owen, whose mood was quickly souring, as it usually did when Rex was here. You spoil him, Owen grumbled. Rex shrugged. Hey, what are uncles for? Well, wizard uncles like me, that is, Rex replied, annoying Owen further. All right, boys, let's eat first, and then you can go and play with your new toys, Baru mused as they took to eating. We got a couple new droids today. The protocol droid keeps calling me sir, even though I keep telling him not to, and the astro droid is a funny little thing. I think that little droid may have been stolen. He keeps saying that he belongs to an Obi-Wan Kenobi. I thought he might mean old Ben. Do you know what he's talking about? Luke asked. Owen quickly answered in the negative. That wizard is just a crazy old man. Tomorrow you'll take that R2 unit into Angerherd and have its memory erased, and that will be the end of it. It belongs to us now, Owen said sternly. But what if this Obi-Wan comes looking for him? Luke asked. He won't. I don't think he exists anymore. He died about the same time as your father, Owen said. He knew my father? Luke asked eagerly. I told you to forget it, Owen replied sternly. Rex and Owen stared each other down from across the table for several long moments, before they broke the gaze. Rex wanted to tell Luke everything, but he would let Obi-Wan take the lead on this one. Luke decided he wouldn't even bother talking about submitting his application to the Academy, though he decided to tell his Uncle Rex later. He didn't understand why his Uncle Owen was so hostile when the subject of his father came up. Rex loved to tell him how great a pilot his father once was, and how beautiful his mother was. But he never said much more, and Luke always got the feeling that Rex knew more. He often guessed that Rex held back at Owen's request, though he had no idea why Rex honoured this request. When he asked his aunt and uncle about his mother, they always got even quieter and just said that they didn't know her. But he knew different, and he didn't know why they wouldn't even give him her name. No one would tell him her name, which made him even more curious about her. Luke finished quickly and got up from the table.
"Where are you going?"
Owen asked. "Looks like nowhere. I have to go finish cleaning those droids," Luke replied as he stalked off. "Owen, he can't stay here forever. He isn't a farmer. He has too much of his father in him," Beru replied.
"That's what I'm afraid of."
Owen replied.
"Hey, Anakin Skywalker is a great man."
Rex snapped.
"Was,"
Owen corrected.
"No, Owen. That's why I'm here this time."
"They're healed, and they're ready to be awakened.
Luke will soon be reunited with his parents,"
Rex stated, shocking both Owen and Beru, who had both been skeptical that this day would ever come.
"Luke is my responsibility, and if Anakin and the princess, or whatever she is, want him, then they have to come and take him themselves,"
Owen replied gruffly.
"Why? So you can keep him a little longer to help with the harvest? He ain't a damn farmer, and he never will be,"
Rex said as he too left, knowing it was no use in arguing with this man. Luke's destiny lay far beyond Tatooine, and Owen Lars wouldn't stand in the way of a reunion that was inevitable. "Owen, Anakin was a good person. Don't you think it is time we told Luke that his father may not be as dead as everyone thinks? And his mother! He needs to find out from us, or he could end up resenting us," Beru said.
"Resenting us? They're the ones that got themselves into this mess in the first place. Maybe if Anakin had stayed here where he belonged, he wouldn't be in this situation. But instead he ran off with those wizards gallivanting across the galaxy. Then he comes back here briefly to bury his mother with her, and I knew she was trouble the moment I met her. Then they were off again. Look where it got them,"
Owen said angrily. "We can't keep lying to Luke about his parents. If he runs into old Ben, he might see it as the right time to tell Luke," Beru answered.
"Luke won't be anywhere near the Dune Sea, and I'll believe that they're really alive when I see them with my own eyes,"
Owen resolved. Beru frowned, but dropped the subject. Luke stared out at the binary sunset in reflection. He knew that they both knew more about his parents than they were letting on, and so did Rex, though it seemed like he was forbidden from telling him much beyond the basics. If they were dead, then why couldn't they tell him all they knew? He just didn't understand it. He longed to know who they were, and what they were like. He sighed deeply before heading back to the garage to clean up the droids. He found the garage very dark, and soon found 3PO hiding from him.
"Please don't deactivate me, sir. I told him not to, but he kept babbling about some mission,"
3PO said.
"Oh no,"
Luke griped as he grabbed the binoculars and ran outside. He scanned the nearby sands for him, but found nothing.
"He's nowhere in sight," Luke replied. "Might we go after him, sir?"
3PO asked.
It's too dangerous with all the sand people around. We'll have to wait until morning,"
Luke said. His Uncle Owen would be livid, and his Uncle Rex would never let him go, so he would have to go without their knowledge.
"Luke, I'm shutting the power down,"
Owen called. "All right, I'll be right there," Luke called. "Boy, am I gonna get it," Luke said, as he and 3PO went back inside. The next morning he would get up very early and begin his search for R2. End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one. Okay, so we're getting started on It's a New Hope. I get why Owen is quite gruff, for lack of a better word, but I like that Luke and Rex have this lovely bond. That's nice. Anyway, looking forward to the next chapter. You guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe, and hit that bell to get notified for whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, girls and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.